That about sums up that embarrassing performance. Six of the universe. I'm not going to give you 36 minutes. Why should I give you more effort than the team itself gave? Although I will give credit that they fought back. What this video is going to be about, what this rant is going to be about, shout out to Romp 2.0. Follow him. He's been doing some great breakdowns. And what he said on Twitter said it all. You can build your big freeze. And normally when it comes to the construction of big freeze, you wonder about who the Vabe in the offense is. And what I mean by that is a guy who doesn't need the ball necessarily, but a guy who could score. Luckily, you have a great Vabe and a future superstar in Tyrese Maxey. So your big free is fine. More than fine. It's effective. Let's get out of the way. I mean, if you had two eyes open in this basketball game, you saw it. The bench is shit. This is the worst bench maybe in NBA history. I have never seen anything like it. Doc blew it, yes, and I'll get to how he blew it. But at the same time, a big part of the reason the Doc is blowing it, I think this is the least depth that he's ever had in his career. I think it's the least depth I've ever seen in 20 years of watching basketball. Shake Milton is not an NBA basketball player. He doesn't play any defense. He's not a guard. I don't know what you do with him. His shot is fucking broken. And that's just the start. Jordan Yang, last couple of games, and really, Doc alluded to it after the overtime win against Orlando. You're overusing him, but again, this is where I say the roster. The reason you're overusing him is Matisse can't shoot the ball. Danny Green tonight, 0 for 5. And it was easy to chase him off the line. And chasing him off the line doesn't really do anything because he can't hit an 18-foot shot, which is embarrassing. What are we talking about here? We're talking about really not a single one of these guys can play NBA basketball right now. I'm serious. So as much as Doc blew it, unless you play your starters in quotation, because some of your starters, Tobias, Matisse, etc., only on one side, or Tobias, you got a little bit of bad Tobias today of dribbling the ball and going into contested shots. You have the big three, and you have nothing else. You literally, precisely have nothing else. You lost this game strictly and only because you only have 3 players that you can play. That is amazing. I've never seen anything like it. You can't even field a good lineup right now. So, as an example, specific example, one of the reasons why Matisse didn't get as many minutes, you're substituting him for Niang, offense for defense, which theoretically makes sense except for the fact that Niang, you lose out on that defense, and it's not like he's a driver either. So the strengths of Matisse are the weaknesses of Niang. The strengths of Niang are the weaknesses of Matisse. It's a double-edged sword, but there's no benefit to it. You lose either way. How did we get here? How did we get to a point where we don't have a single NBA player outside of Joel Embiid, James Harden, and Tyrese Maxey? We got here because the NBA as a whole has fallen in love with these one-dimensional guys who, in all honesty, are not talented ball players. Teach made a couple of great plays, a couple of great weak side deflections, but at the end of the day, what am I looking for a wingman? Either you shoot off the ball, attack off the ball, or give me something offensively. Matisse gave you 8 points, Danny Green gave you none. Sub 10 points from your small forwards. Once again, worst position at the Sixers have, absolute 0. Jordan Yang wasn't able to be hot. And with Jordan Yang not hot, you don't have a backup point guard. That's why Tyrese Maxey is getting 40 minutes a night. And Tyrese is not that great at it either. But again, comparatively to a scrub like Shake fucking Milton, it's a disaster. Doc Rivers does not have a bench. And this gets to Daryl Morey. Me and Rob have been critical on Daryl Morey from the start. You know, it's great that you're able to get Harden for Simmons. None of us expected that. But you had to do something after that because you had to give up Drummond and you had to give up Seth and you were weak on depth to begin with. There had to be another move. But no, it's just to get Harden. So here's the reality of the situation. We're not a contender, okay? Seriously, there's no such thing as a contender that can't form a good starting lineup, let alone a contender with no bench. This is not an NBA contender. This is a team that's going to lose. It may lose in the second round again, but this time, I'm not attached. Don't be attached. This is a team that deserves British roster construction to lose in the second round. This is not an NBA title contender. This game took us out of it completely. Poof, gone. You're not a contender. We're a contender. What does that say for the Utah Jazz? What does that say for Los Angeles Clippers? This is not a contending basketball team moving forward, period. At least as presently constructed, because they only got feet huge. Can't win like that. Can't even coach like that. Like, would I have loved to have seen Isaiah Joe? Yeah. Would I love to have seen Isaiah Joe have big minutes? Yeah, but in all honesty, has Isaiah Joe been popping hot? And the fact that you looking at Isaiah Joe, again, bring me right back to Daryl Morey. With the 28th pick of the draft, you pick Jaden Springer, who isn't even on my board. And like I said, I didn't even like the pick at the time, but you picked him. Why? For what reason? What reason did you pick Jaden Springer? Why did you pick Jaden Springer? We don't know. I think it's about time you find out. Your bench is that terrible. Your bench is at such a situation that you have got to find out. You wasted a pick on it, Daryl. We need to know why. We need to know why on the court. Because this is just pathetic. Ayu Dosunmu in the second round. I like the Luka Garza kid out of Detroit. Detroit isn't really anything, but could you use a 3-point shooter off your bench? Well, after the night, I think we could say yes. We could use a 3-point shooter off our bench. You know, you give Doc a Charles Basie, what the fuck are we doing with DeAndre Jordan? It's time for this front office to look at the fucking bench. Because you can't win like this. Even if you had Phil Jackson, you couldn't win like this. So as much as I didn't like the substitution patterns, I asked myself, after the collapse, you let a 19-point lead go. It's not even all bench. You can't afford to play one bench player. So it's not like it's an all-bench lineup. It's simply a matter of, if I put any part of this bench at all in the game, I am putting in players who are not NBA caliber, who do not have the ability to step on an NBA court. Put it in perspective. Denver has struggled this year with a similar problem, but their players were far better than ours. I put that in context, you know. Mr. Spider, he and DJ collabed again. They had a great collab. But that put it in perspective that the Denver bench, as hard as that's been for you guys, infinitely worse. Shake Milton will not play any minutes on Mike Malone's staff. None. Zero. At all. Neither would DeAndre Jordan. We finally got Burkhardt Korma do not pay coach decision. But all that did was take another scrub out of rotation. Wait, what rotation? You don't have one. The bench. Oh my Lord. That's how I feel. But long-term, really, why we're here. We're here. I said this before in another video, and I know it's kind of like sour grapes, but we're here because from 2013 to 2017, you made one good draft pick. One! Draw me. One! Just one pick. You had 8 first-round picks. You only converted on one. Sammy G's drafting was worse than David Kahn, who was universally mocked, but at least he managed to get Ricky Rubio out of it. This is amazing. You did not, I mean, even if it were a bust, most busts can at least be in your rotation. Our busts are either out of the league or on the deep bench of a New York squad that isn't even in the playoffs. You know, there's no out. My mind is blown. My mind is blown at the severe lack of any NBA talent, and as a direct result of the fact that you had absolutely nothing in the way of any draft picks from 2013, 2017. How about second round pick steals? One, Jeremy Grant, not here. That's amazing. That is absolutely fucking amazing to me. I can't believe what I watched. And I can't believe what we've had to go through. You know, the whole reason for the Jimmy Butler trades and the Tobias Harris trades. And it's not like you honestly lost a lot, theoretically though. A Landry Shamet, a Jeremy Robinson, who looks like an okay, maybe rookie. They would be dead pieces, but getting these guys would have been fine if you were able to, A, keep a Jimmy. And if you were able to keep a Jimmy, then you don't have to make the Seth trade, Josh trade. You don't have to have the Al Horford signing, etc. All of that compounded by basically not being able to keep Jimmy Butler. Every mistake that this organization has made over the past 4 years has basically compounded into the worst, most improbable bench situation that I have ever seen in my human lifetime on earth watching NBA professional basketball. There's nothing like it. You don't have a small forward starter. Both of your small forwards should honestly be deep coming off the bench. Matisse doesn't even have the real length to be a small forward, but he back there with your small forward. So you have no wings. You have no real backup guards. Tyrese Maxey playing 35 minutes. You do have some young centers that you can groom, but your jackass coach believes that if you're 35 and if you play in the league 13 years, that's enough to earn some minutes. Not earn minutes. Get minutes. SSI minutes. Retirement minutes. It's fucking absurd. It's fucking absurd. I'm not even saying it's that. The season's done. The season is done. And somebody say, it's overreaction to the regular season. What I saw, Sports Talk with Birds would talk about what you saw in relation to playoff basketball. Here's the thing. Even if you were to say shortened bench, I have never seen a situation that's so short that you only have 3 guys on your roster. I've never seen that before in my life. It would be a first. But you need Maxey, Harden, and Embiid all to play 40-plus minutes just to win a game against the caliber of the Denver Nuggets, which you didn't. You are not an NBA title contender, period. And yes, you do need, this game should have shown you, last couple games should show you need more than one dude, if you even have that in Jordan Yang, off of the bench. You need more than one. The good news is there won't be an all-bench lineup, but the bad news is there won't be one because it's not good enough to even pretend to have one. Not even to pretend at this point. You don't have the quality of Dwight Howard and George Hill. Quality, even though they were inconsistent and couldn't shoot themselves either. So, if anything, the bench, which was bad last year, has gone downhill. You now have the worst bench in the NBA. You now have the worst bench in basketball. You have the worst bench in basketball, and now you don't really have any assets. This is it. This is it. And, Bill Simons in his Joel Embiid video pretty much, he pointed this out. And the funny thing is, it's not really Harden's fault. He came alive in the second half with the playmaker, got people involved. It's not that, this doesn't work, it's sunk. It's that now you went in and got this, now you don't have the assets to get everything else. This whole thing, the whole bench situation, and everything surrounding it meant that you had to reconstruct an entire roster. That's what no one appreciated. It wasn't just a Ben thing. It was, you had to move from Ben, and then you had to recreate a roster, an organization around Joel Embiid. Something that in the ideal world you would have been doing when you were in the process, when you were taking, when you had those picks. Instead of 3 centers, go get a guard. Go get a forward. Too late now. You don't got the assets. You don't got high draft picks. You can't draft an almost guaranteed rotation player. Now you're going to have to try your rotation player with an MLE. Do you even have the MLE? I don't know. I asked Bobby Marks, ESPN Insider. Does this organization even have a full MLE? I don't know. I literally do not know if this team can actually get the pieces with its limited assets or non-existent assets in the offseason. I do not know. In fact, I'm leaning towards probably not. You need to nail this Tobias Harris trade. And no, you're now seeing it's not for Bradley Beal. It is for role players who are tall, long, can defend and shoot. Tall, long, defend and shoot. I need size, I need length, I need perimeter defense, I need lots of versatility so I can put guys in multiple different positions. Because right now, I don't have any small forwards. I don't really have a backup point guard. And my backup big situation is chaotic in part by Doc's choice and also in part by the roster situation. DeAndre Jordan, Paul Millsap. What are we doing here? I like the Petrushev, the international kid. Can we bring him over? I like his assets. I like what he can bring as a shooting big man off the bench. And I like a Basie. I like a Paul. I like their potential. I think that they could help elevate this problem. I do not have any trust in Doc Rivers paying them, however. So it's like, why should I even be thinking about these players who have a bright future or potential bright future when Coach Jackass believes that if your certificate is 35 years old, if you were born in 1987, you have a guaranteed roster spot on this rotation. Why? It's why I said it's fitting that we don't have any picks. Because there'd be no point. Because it's Doc Rivers. It's absurd. It's absurd. And what gets me upset is this. We finally have the big three. A franchise shooting guard in Tyrese Maxey, who is a free-level scorer. A franchise point guard in James Harden, who can set the table for Joel Embiid. Joel Embiid can consistently dominate, not having to face consistent double teams at least every single possession. You finally have your core pieces in place. Now, the rationale, the sole part would be, okay, we have the pieces in place for the core. Now, next offseason, we'll go in and we'll fix the fact that we have the worst bench in the league. But like I was saying and ranting 2 minutes ago, with what assets? With what assets? You're against the cap. You're not trading Harden. You're not trading Embiid. You're not trading Max. You don't do your cornerstones. You have to turn the contract of Tobias Harris into something, but can you? Can you really? And when the trade was made in the press conference, Howard Eskin was making a snarky remark of, you don't have a first until 2029. Although it was snarky, it's looking real big now because he got way too many flaws and that can't be addressed just in free agency alone. You need draft and some internal development, but who do I believe in? Furthermore, internal development implies that said young player will actually play. And this is awful. And this is the worst loss of the year. Boston was terrible. Brooklyn was embarrassing. This is a fucking new low. This guaranteed that you're not a contender. Guaranteed, I don't care what games are played. Oh, I'll watch. I'm not one of those who's going to turn off, the TV sets. I'm not one of those who is just going to abandon my squad. I'm not one of those guys. I'm not. But I'm not going to watch with the expectation of this team being an upper echelon team in the league. Not because they don't have a big three. Not because, by the way, Joel Embiid, it's hard to say. Jokic was making some great passes in the first half, making all the veteran plays you need to make in order to get your team in a position to win. Shout out to Nikola Jokic. But I don't think Embiid, I think he only had maybe 2 turnovers. And I think he had maybe 6 assists. I'll look at the official scoreboard right now. I will look at the official scoreboard right now. So actually, he had 5 turnovers. I'll have to look over them to see what turnovers they were. Harden with 4. But see, even with Harden and Embiid with those turnovers, you only have 13 turnovers because, again, that Babe in the middle, the perfect Babe in the middle, and Tyrese Maxey, 0 turnovers in 41 minutes, 19 points. Tobias Harris, 9 shot attempts. Jordan Niang, 2 for 12. Jordan Niang had 12 shot attempts. The other Jordan had 6. Danny Green, 5. 12, 6, 18. 5, 23, 24. 3 for 24 from your bench. 3 for 24 from your bench. He's kidding me. What do we do as Sixer fans to deserve this? Every time we think we're close, the shot, the Jimmy trade, the Harris trade. You know, you think you're acquiring a top 10 power forward at the time I thought in Tobias Harris. No, not really. Big Baby becomes a big baby. Now we know he has a chronic back. He may not be the same player ever again in his career. You're able to get James Harden for him. Steal. But now you have the worst bench in the NBA, and you don't have limited assets, and Joel Embiid's 28. Every move we made was to try and rectify a mistake that we made before. And really, what did this all come down to? What should have been done differently? When you drafted Joel Embiid, who Brett Brown called the crown jewel, everything should have been done around that. That way you wouldn't have had to make moves. That way you wouldn't have had to compensate, with the other moves that you made. Sorry about that. All this is connected to the laptop for the first time. When I moved my hand, I accidentally moved that out. So, I'm going to make a separate video because it deserves it. The Eagles signing a linebacker for the first time in 20 damn years is a pretty noteworthy thing and a positive thing to end off on. But long term for my Sixers, it's over. It's over. For real, it's over. You lost that game. You lost the game to the Denver Nuggets. You lost it going 3 for 24 from the field for your bench. You're done. It's over. It's a wrap. That is embarrassing. It is a game where I can't really blame the starters. It's a game where I can't really say, even as I don't like Matisse Thybulle, he gave me 6 steals, 4 blocks, 2 steals. What can I say? I do dislike Tobias, but ultimately, Harden was getting the shots and possessions in the second half, and Maxey was heating up, so there weren't really that many possessions for Harris either. But even then, as you look over it, 7 rebounds, I guess that's okay. But really, the plus minus tells you everything. Shake Milton minus 11. Well, why was it minus 11? Because Shake Milton can't defend a fucking tree. He can't create anything off the bounce anymore. And even though he only hit the 1 shot, if he shot more, I guarantee you he wouldn't have missed with that ugly ass form. He can't defend the tree. He can't do anything, really. He's not really a good backup point guard. And Jordan Niang, of his 12 shots, 10 of them were beyond the arc. Normally, Jordan Niang is able to penetrate, drive, get other things, but today, a lot of it was strictly outside, unable to really put the ball on the floor. But do you really want Jordan Niang to put the ball on the floor? Again, the fact that Jordan Niang is probably your 3rd best creator just says everything right there, where if James Harden's not creating, you're fucked. So, you're done. You're just done. You're done. Again, it may be the first round, maybe the second round. Who fucking cares? Who cares? I don't care what round we lose in. I know that the Milwaukee Bucks are going to be Pete now. Now that I've taken off the Sixers, I don't believe in the Nets, and I damn straight don't believe in the Miami Heat. So the Bucks are going to go to the NBA Finals. Maybe the Suns for a rematch, or it could be the Warriors. So somebody say again, I'm a hater. I'm not a hater. I just don't know how you overcome having only 3 NBA players in your rotation. Hey, if we do it, shout out. It's going to take remarkable coaching, which, by the way, the Shaq Ass does not show he has the ability to do. So, yeah, there's that. That's the final point. You have no real shot this year contending. And the point of the Toby trade, I hope people understand now, isn't to win the trade or to get a comparable talent, but to get you 2 or 3 dudes who can come off your bench, because you don't got a bench. You don't got anything. You just got your big 3. That's all you got. That's the only thing you can hang your hat on. You can't hang your hat on anything else. Sure, teeth, affections, whatever, but as you saw, it doesn't get you a win over the Denver Nuggets. So ultimately, at the end of the day, who cares? You didn't win. Look forward to the offseason. Who knows? Since the Eagles did sign that linebacker who's more of a veteran. Now the Eagles are going to make their annual let's get veterans for a push. And all those veterans are going to actually be able to do it. Because no one thought that 2017 would be 2017. So I'll look at the Eagles and hopefully they will salvage my sad soul. And this team is not the contender that it could be or should be if it had even halfway of a decent bench. 6 of the universe, signing off. Ironic. I said that I wasn't going to give you that much of my time, but 26 minutes. I guess when you're angry and when you're faced with the reality that you're not really going to contend with this roster, I guess that really just made me vent. Made me get loose. But signing off. Peace. And don't invest too much in a roster that has no chance of getting out of the second round.